The CIA has concluded that Russia intervened in the election to help you win the presidency. Your reaction?
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's just another excuse. I don't believe it. I don't know why. And I think it's just, they talked about all sorts of things. Every week it's another excuse.
President-elect Donald Trump speaking yesterday on Fox News Sunday, blaming Democrats, reacting to U.S. intelligence reports that there was no doubt that Russian hackers interfered with the recent U.S. election, and that interference, according to the CIA, was done to boost Donald Trump's electoral prospects. Joining us now to talk a little bit more about the President-elect's talk with Chris Wallace, Dr. Ben Voth, Associate Professor of Communication at SMU. Dr. Voth, also an advisor for the George W. Bush Institute. Thanks for coming in.
Oh yeah, pleasure to be here.
Okay, so yesterday, right around the time of the interview with President-elect Trump, a couple of Republican senators joined some Democratic senators, but the Republicans, McCain and Lindsey Graham, they put out a statement saying, hey, this is serious. This Russian hacking needs to be investigated, and it's essential that it not turn into a partisan issue. It seems like the president-elect not too enthusiastic about the idea of investigating this.
Oh yeah, I think he's definitely kind of saying he doesn't like the report and that kind of thing, and really kind of played it down. I think that's for sure. And
there are people who are asking, well, is this going to affect the president-elect's relationship with the intelligence community? There's, of course, some very crucial issues that President Trump will be dealing with: the Iran nuclear weapons, North Korea, many different issues.
Yeah, I think there'll be an interesting question about like who would be the new CIA director and things like that. Would that person be replaced? But that's a vital relationship to any president. And so this is a pretty important ongoing issue about how do you get intelligence.
And do you foresee then a serious clash between President Trump and the Congress over this hacking?
Well, I mean, I think the Congress is going to remain in Republican hands, and so even with McCain and things like that, I'm not sure it'll become a big issue, but it could. It's possible. I mean, the Congress is definitely going to defend the CIA, I think.
Yes, we can certainly predict that. Okay, also coming up in the interview yesterday, Chris Wallace asking about the president-elect's business interests and possible conflicts of interest.
I won't be involved in my business at all, even though I have a legal right to be under the laws, as you know, because the president has a certain doctrine that he can do things, but I just don't want to do it. Even if I could do it, which I'm allowed to, I wouldn't want to do it. I want to devote my time.
What about them? Are they moving?
You know, this is another one of those issues. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think I saw one survey last week, over the weekend, that said, or perhaps the weekend, that said Americans aren't that concerned at this point about Donald Trump's business interests creating possible conflicts. Apparently the idea being, well, we knew he was a businessman when he ran for office.
I think the public's hoping that he's wealthy enough that he doesn't need the deals. I think that's probably part of the motive of electing him. But I think this is something we're going to always hear about because he is a businessman. He has lots of dealings all around the world, and so every interaction with those dealings will raise questions. But the question is, being rich and kind of at the end of his career, does that put him above it all? We don't know. I mean, that's just something the media's going to have to hold him accountable for.
And now you have word that Rex Tillerson, the CEO of ExxonMobil, based in Irving, is very likely the next Secretary of State pick by Donald Trump. Tillerson, very close ties, business ties to Vladimir Putin. Is Tillerson going to have a tough time getting confirmed?
Again, I think even with those kind of difficulties in the Russian politics, the Congress is pretty Republican. They picked up another Republican senator in Louisiana, and so I think there's still going to be confirmation, but it's going to be some tough interrogation in that confirmation process.
And the president-elect, on another issue, sort of doubled down during that Chris Wallace interview on the whole idea of the one China policy, or Trump saying, look, if China doesn't make some concessions, I'm not guaranteeing that we will stick with the one China policy. I may give recognition to Taiwan. That, of course, raising a lot of eyebrows would be a big change.
Yeah, that was a pretty big pressure point to take the call from Taiwan. For me, I mean, I know it actually does kind of raise some positive human rights questions, because I don't think people criticize China enough on their human rights questions, and Taiwan, the more democratic alternative, is a rival to that. But it will also influence kind of the economic gamesmanship that goes on about trade with China and things like that, that's for sure.
Yes, and of course, the U.S. and China so intertwined economically. Boy, it's a relationship that calls for careful handling. But there are some who will say, yes, it's time to get tough with China. So we shall see.
Very true.
All right, Dr. Ben Voth with SMU, the Speech and Debate Department. Thank you so much for the chat.
You're welcome.